So, picture this. I'm walking home late one night. It was one of those evenings where the city hums itself to sleep, you know. The usual hustle and bustle had faded into a quiet, almost eerie stillness. Streetlights cast long, dancing shadows that played tricks on your eyes. I'd just finished a marathon study session at the library and decided to take a shortcut through a residential area I don't usually walk through. It was lined with old houses, the kind with big, dark windows that looked like vacant eyes staring out into the night. That's when I first saw her. Under the flickering orange glow of a lone streetlight, an old woman was standing. She was hunched over, leaning on a cane, wearing a long, dark coat that seemed to swallow the little light there was. Her hair was a shock of white, messy and wild. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe she was just getting some fresh air. I gave a polite nod as I passed, but she didn't respond. She just stood there, completely still, her head slightly tilted as if she were listening to something I couldn't hear. I kept walking, picking up my pace a little. The silence of the street felt heavier now. After about a block, a strange feeling washed over me. That prickly sensation on the back of your neck when you feel like you're being watched. I risked a quick glance over my shoulder. My heart jumped into my throat. She was there, the old woman. She was following me, but she wasn't walking like you'd expect an old woman with a cane to walk. She was moving with this weird, unnaturally smooth glide, keeping a steady distance of about 50 feet behind me. The tap-tap-tap of her cane was the only sound besides my own ragged breathing. Okay, I told myself, don't panic. It's a public street. She has every right to be here. Maybe we're just heading in the same direction. But the further I walked, the more my rationalizations crumbled. Every time I turned a corner, I'd hold my breath, praying she'd be gone. But a few seconds later, there she'd be, rounding the corner after me. That same eerie glide, that same steady distance. The tap-tap-tap of her cane was becoming the soundtrack to my own personal horror movie. It was relentless, a metronome counting down to something. I started to properly freak out. My walk turned into a power walk, then a jog. I didn't want to break into a full sprint and seem like a lunatic, but the fear was coiling in my stomach like a cold snake. I glanced back again. She was jogging too, an old, hunched-over woman, jogging in the dead of night, her cane tapping the pavement in a frantic, accelerated rhythm. Her face was still obscured by the shadows, but I could feel her eyes locked on me. It was the most unsettling thing I have ever witnessed. All the hair on my arms stood on end. This can't be real, I thought. I must be imagining this. Maybe the long hours of studying were making me see things. I squeezed my eyes shut for a second and then opened them, half expecting the street behind me to be empty. But she was still there, and she was closer now. The distance between us had shrunk. I could make out more details. Her coat was tattered at the edges, and her face. Her face was pale, almost luminous in the dark, and it was stretched into a wide, unnatural smile. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was a hungry, predatory grin that didn't reach her eyes. Her eyes were just dark, hollow pits. That's when I ran. I just bolted. All pretense of calm was gone. My backpack thumped against my spine, my lungs burned, and my heart felt like it was going to explode. The sound of her cane tapping the ground grew faster and louder, impossibly fast. It was no longer a simple tap-tap-tap. It was a frantic, chaotic drumming that echoed through the empty streets, right behind me. It sounded like it was right at my heels. I didn't dare look back. I was too terrified of what I might see. What if she was right there? What if I could feel her breath on my neck? My apartment building was just ahead, a beacon of light and safety in the suffocating darkness. I fumbled for my keys, my hands shaking so badly I could barely fit the key into the lock. The frantic tapping of the cane stopped. A sudden, deafening silence descended. For a terrifying second, I thought she had me. I braced myself for a cold hand on my shoulder. With a final, desperate twist, the lock clicked open. I scrambled inside, slammed the heavy door shut, and threw all 3 deadbolts. I leaned against the door, gasping for air, my body trembling. I waited, listening. There was nothing, just the sound of my own frantic heartbeat echoing in the hallway. After a few minutes, I crept over to the peephole, my eye pressed against the cool metal. My blood ran cold. She was there, standing on the other side of the door, her face pressed right up against the peephole from her side. The fisheye lens distorted her features, making her smile even wider, more grotesque. Her eyes were just black voids. She wasn't moving. She was just standing there, smiling that awful, terrible smile. I stumbled back from the door, a scream caught in my throat. I ran to my living room window, the one that overlooks the front entrance of the building. I peered through the blinds, my heart pounding. The spot where she had been standing was empty. The street was deserted. She was gone. It was as if she had just vanished into thin air. I stayed up all night, jumping at every creak and groan of the old building, convinced she was going to somehow appear inside my apartment. I don't know who or what she was. I've never seen her again, and I've never taken that shortcut home since. Sometimes, late at night, when the city is quiet, I think I can hear it. A faint, distant sound, carried on the wind, tap, tap, tap. And I wonder if she's still out there, walking the dark streets with that terrible smile on her face, looking for someone else to follow home. Thanks for listening to my story. If you liked it, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more. Stay safe out there.